G'day guys, welcome back to another Collingwood review on the channel, and today I'll be reviewing Collingwood versus St Kilda that occurred last night. Another disappointing result for us, 0-3 now. It's not looking good, is it? And we'll jump straight into the review. So, where do I even start with this game? Obviously, we went down to the Saints at the G for Spud's game by 15 points in a really disappointing and unforgiving result, really. Where do I start? I guess AFL's about momentum, right? And we certainly had some crazy momentum and some crazy belief formed in 2022 and 2023. But at the moment, it's just not there, is it? It's just absolutely nowhere at the moment. Another disappointing game, 0-3. We had no momentum in our first two games. We had some last night, but still wasn't enough to beat a very impressive St Kilda side, and credit to them. You know, I thought their pressure was fantastic. They dominated us in the midfield, and we've been dominated in the midfield in all three of our games so far this season. And their forward line worked really, really well together. They obviously managed to kick quite a big score on our defence. And at the moment, our defence in the past 10 games, I think, has been registered as the worst in the comp, and by some margin as well. It's not working at the moment. And Craig McRae, well, he's got a lot to think about. And yeah, look, 3 horrible games. I'm going to try not to get as pissed off as I got last week. But yeah, I just have to, don't I? Because we're out of form severely. We're 0-3. Finals aren't looking good. Top 4 is almost like impossible from here, from an 0-3 start. We need to turn quickly, and we know we're capable of playing good football. Our best is arguably the best in the competition, certainly the benchmark, and especially at the MCG. But at the moment, we got no form. We can't get our game plan going, and that's been the story really of our season so far. I'd like to see some bold selection calls heading into next week's Easter Thursday clash against Brisbane at the Gabba from Craig McRae, because some players, especially the veterans and classy players, just had some really bad skill errors and some horrible turnovers. There were actually heaps of errors in this game, and I know the umpiring, obviously, it was atrocious. Absolutely ridiculous, this umpiring. It was horrible. The worst I've ever seen in a Collingwood game in terms of us losing. You know, there was that Anzac Day game in 2019, obviously, that we were involved with. But obviously we did end up winning that. So, yeah, but this is arguably one of the worst umpiring performances I've ever seen. The Jeremy Howe, accused of being played on when he was outside the boundary, was absolutely horrible. Jack Higgins kicked the match-winning goal when we had the momentum, when he was out of bounds, so it doesn't really count, does it? Just some of the holding the balls missed as well in the second half were just horrendous. And I'm not going to go on about it too much, because we obviously still would have lost even if the umpiring was a bit better. But just wanted to point that out. But yeah, obviously it's starting off in defence, isn't it? Just turning the ball over. Last night we let so many goals as well out the back to, Jack Higgins, who had a fantastic game. It's annoying because last week the issues was, getting the ball intercepted and then Sydney just walk in an easy goal. This week it was the play getting out the back. And look, I think the selections that we brought in were amazing, and most of our players, I want to say, had some good moments. So we were certainly a lot better than we were in the first 2 games, that's for sure. The inclusions, Billy Frampton, I actually thought he was really, really good. And Reef McInnes kicked 3 goals. He was absolutely superb, and he's definitely locked in, you would think, that forward line spot. If he keeps performing like that as well, just absolutely fantastic to see from him. Definitely deserves it. Lipinski as well was fantastic, I thought. 22 touches and 2 goals. Jamie Elliott kicked 3, and probably could have kicked a little bit more. He had heaps of shots, really, Jamie. He had 5, 6 scoring shots or shots a goal. So that was a bit unfortunate that he couldn't quite capitalise. Darcy Cameron, again, was pretty good, I want to say. He's kicked a goal in every single game this year so far, and had 13 touches, 26 hit-outs, looked really good in the ruck. But yeah, I mean, you can't really, give him a whole bunch of credit, really, because we got smashed in the middle. And when I thought we were good and when we had the momentum, players like Maynard, Quainer, Pendlebury and Crisp were good. Nick Dacos was really, really quiet, which was unusual for him. We know he'll bounce back, so, just a bit of an unusual game for him in his 50th. Sidebottom was really poor. He had so many turnovers in this game and just silly decisions. He had some fluky decisions in the last quarter as well, yeah. But Sidebottom, he's dropped off so far this season. Does Craig McRae make a risky decision and manage him heading into the bye, because we've got the bye in a couple of weeks. We go Brisbane at the Gabba, Easter Thursday, huge game, must win. Grand final rematch, and both teams haven't won a game. Pretty crazy to think about. Hawthorn and Gabba round, and then we got the bye. And then after that, we got Port Adelaide at the G, following with Anzac Day, and then Carlton. And then West Coast at Marvel, and then Adelaide at the G. That is a tough, tough, tough fixture. And we have to win a lot of those games. And I want to say a good 7 or 8 of those games are losable. Even 9 of them. The only one that really we should win is West Coast, but you can't guarantee that, can you? Because A, it's at Marvel Stadium, and B, if we play like the way we have been, we're not going to win against West Coast. But yeah, we're just severely out of form at the moment. I'd love to see John Noble return. I think he'd be a like-for-like straight swap for Oleg Markov. I think Markov needs to maybe regain some form in the VFL. I think Finlay McRae should stay as sub. We haven't seen enough of him yet to probably put him in the lineup. So I reckon he'll stay as sub. De Goey had one of his worst games I've ever seen. Definitely his worst under Craig McRae. So that was disappointing. Jeremy Howe as well did absolutely nothing. We moved him forward in the final minute, but we should have done it earlier, really. Bobby Hill was quiet again. Did kick 2 goals. Got on the end of a couple, which was good to see. But again, he hasn't quite, been as good as what he was last year. And even Bo McCreary, he had a decent game, don't get me wrong, and he was good when we were good. But I'd love to see him in the midfield. Him or Schultz or even a Quainer. Quainer's big-bodied, he's fast. I'd love to see Craig McRae chuck him in the midfield. And even Sidebottom, he's a winger. Get the experienced veteran into the midfield, because we have been outdone by pace in our first 3 games severely. More so against Sydney and St Kilda. St Kilda's speedsters, Henry, Windhager, not so much Bonner, Bradley Hill, Sinclair, Ross, Wangani Malira, Ryan Burns, they were all really, really good. All their speedsters, and again, Sydney last week, it was the same story with them. So, yeah, maybe get a little bit more speed into the midfield. So I'd love to see Bo McCreary and Quainer be chucked into the midfield next week if it's not working for us again. And look, we're going to go into the Brisbane game definitely not as favourites. We're going into favourites, I would say, all 3 of our games so far this season, but definitely not the case against Brisbane. And look, even pushing it against Hawthorn at the moment with our form, you just can't back in a team that's severely out of form, can you? It's been quite disappointing. Darcy Moore, as the leader of this football club, he's got to change. The turnovers, he started off so good, which frustrated me because he was, taking intercept after intercept after intercept to start the game. But then he makes one silly mistake at the end of the first quarter where he just handballs it into space. I don't know what he was thinking. Just handballed it to no one. St Kilda player picks it up and goals. So frustrating. and ever since then, he lost his confidence, and most of the other players as well just have no confidence at the moment. So I think we need to see Noble coming back in. I'd love to see some bold decisions made around Sidebottom and Pendlebury, maybe even maybe not Maynard, Howe even. I think Pendlebury or Sidebottom, one of those two probably has to get managed. I was happy that we dropped Hoskin Elliott because Hoskin Elliott, he's not in our best 22, let alone 26. I don't want to see Hoskin Elliott come back. But yeah, I think there's heaps of changes that need to be made or considered at least. And just hope that some of these players can regain form and their crazy form and belief. We don't have enough belief. Our pressure was better than last week, that's for sure. But still, it's not quite there, is it? The physicality as well, we were lacking. The only player that I haven't really mentioned, I feel, is Josh Dacos. He was superb, which was fantastic to see because he hasn't been fantastic to start the season. But yeah, had a really, really good game, which was a really good positive. We did come late. Don't underestimate that. We came late in that fourth quarter. You know, we were really, really determined to, you know, peg it back. And, you know, we kicked 3 in a row. We kicked 4 goals to their 3 in the last quarter. Obviously, one of them shouldn't have counted in the Jack Higgins goal. And the 2 other ones they had when they had the momentum. And again, third quarters. There's something about third quarters for us. We've only scored 2 goals in third quarters this season, and we've actually conceded 17. So, as a Collingwood fan, you know it's tough times at the moment. But you know, I guess as well, we didn't want to go into the corridor as much. We went into the corridor way too much against Sydney. So we just stayed away from the corridor, and I think we were bombing it in again when we had our chances. A bit too much again. I would like to see a little bit less bombing, especially seeming we do not have a key forward. Like, my check is crap at the moment. He's in crap form. He needs to regain form. Reece McInnes was good, but he didn't take any, you know, contested marks. Neither did Cox. Cameron, did he? I don't know. It doesn't matter, because even if he did or not, Darcy Cameron shouldn't be the one going down there taking a contested mark. Got flogged in clearances. Midfield's disappointing us at the moment. We're 0-3, you know, bottom 4. It's bad. It's really, really bad. It's just simple. We just got to get our form back as well. Our handball game as well. We started to see a return in the fourth quarter, which was good. And, you know, the desperate smothers, the desperation, you know, it started to come back. But then, you know, umpiring, which is unfortunate. Jack Higgins' amazing goal that wasn't a goal, absolutely ruined our late surge. And, you know, losing to St Kilda at home. It wasn't even a home game for us, but losing to St Kilda at home, it's not a great feeling, is it? But yeah, we're out of form at the moment. Our current form isn't going to beat anyone in the competition. We need to adjust. We need to regroup as a team. We need to make some harsh selection calls and just go in and just play our guts off against Brisbane. We need a win desperately. What we really need is a bye, in my opinion. But whatever. We don't get that, do we? We don't get that luxury like Brisbane this week. They'll be feeling fresh into this game. It's going to be the biggest game probably of our season because we lose to Brisbane. I hate to say it, but finals is probably not going to happen. It's hard to believe with this team, but it's just going to be so hard. And to get back from there, like, the confidence will just be so low if we lose to Brisbane up at the Gabba. It's going to be difficult. We knew it was going to be difficult. Even if we were in form or not, but we're out of form. The Brisbane are going to be hungry. We need to be hungry as well. We got to make some bold selection calls. I think I'm yapping a bit now. Yeah, it's a tough time at the moment. We just got to push through and just try and break the rut and just get our momentum and confidence and belief and will to win back. And, you know, we just want to see exciting Collingwood football like we saw in 2022 and 2023. And, Craig McRae, he's got something to think about. He's never really been challenged as a coach in his career so far at Collingwood, except for now. And, the spotlight's on him. We're going to get slammed again. We've been slammed so much to start the season by not only, opposition, critics. It's the critics are going to come for us, that's for sure. We got to get some speed into our midfield. I'm still yapping, aren't I? Just repeating things at the moment. We got a lot of issues. They're not going to be fixed quickly. And I just want to see us play a good 4-quarter performance against Brisbane. And hopefully we can pull a rabbit out of the hat and beat Brisbane up at the Gabba like Carlton did in round 0. So hopefully you guys enjoyed my review, and I'll see you guys next week when I'll be reviewing Easter Thursday, Collingwood versus Brisbane.